Whereas the Maumee Band Parent Organization actively engages students with impactful volunteer initiatives that benefit the arts community and thereby our local community as a whole. And whereas parents and volunteers have dedicated uncountable hours and efforts for decades in support of the Maumee Band program's multiple performance ensembles, including but not limited to marching band, concert band, indoor drumline, winter guard, pep band, jazz band, solo ensemble, and many more. Whereas on February 8th, 2025, the Maumee Band Parents Organization was recognized by the Ohio Music Education Association as the outstanding music support group for the entire state of Ohio for exemplary leadership, service, and commitment to excellence in music education. Now therefore be it resolved that I, James McDonald, Mayor, do hereby proclaim February 17th, 2025 as Maumee Band Parent Organization Day in the city of Maumee, encouraging all students and community members to actively participate in volunteer activities organized by groups such as the Maumee Band Parent Organization and other community partners. Let us all strive to make a positive difference in our community through meaningful service and active engagement. A witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the All-American City of Maumee to be affixed to this 17th day of February 2025.
Thank you very much. If the band director, if you would like to say a few words, you're welcome to. Sure. Just step up to the mic.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Eric Boswell. I'm the band director at Maumee High School and Middle School. I just thank you, John Fiskus and City Council, for recognizing us this evening. We really appreciate it. I'm just very grateful as the band director at Maumee. In the nomination that I wrote, and I also received a letter of support from former director Rob Cintron in support of the nomination. The thing is, this is not a one-year thing at Maumee. We have had, going back for, I've been here 10 years now at Maumee High School. I know Mr. Cintron was there prior to me, and Mr. German was there prior to them. My conversations with all those previous directors is that this is always a thing with Maumee Band Parents Organization. We staff all the concession stands at athletic events, and that is not a small undertaking to make sure that's all covered. And so that allows us to bring in extra staff members, that allows us to purchase instruments, that allows us to support extra groups like an indoor drumline or winter guard that other groups, other schools similar size to us may not have the funds for. We do, because for many, many, many generations, we've been so blessed and so lucky to have a group of parents who are always willing to step up and get the work done so that we have these supports at Maumee. And just very grateful for many years of service from our Maumee band parents. And so thank you for your time. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
I know Mr. Fiskus has been very passionate with the band. He was part of the band actually with my daughter, and he still is very active with that organization, so we really appreciate his efforts too. Thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it. Second item on the for presentations on the committee of the whole is the active transportation presentation. With us this evening is Amy Abodili and Beth Deakins and Jamie Dye, and they have a short PowerPoint that they're going to kind of explain. This has been in place for quite some time, but yes, update us on the transportation plan. And Lucas County, welcome.
I'm much shorter than the band director friend. Good evening. Thank you for having us. Again, this is just a quick update. The plan has existed for a couple of years now. Maumee was one of the first to adopt it, so thank you to this council for that. Several jurisdictions, as you'll see coming up, followed suit and are working to connect the region so that folks can get where they want to go without having to rely on a car if they don't have one or if they just choose not to use one. So really quickly, I'm Beth Deakins. I'm with the YMCA of Greater Toledo, and Amy Abodili is with the Toledo-Lucas County Health Department. We chair the Active Transportation Committee. That's really just a coalition of organizations working to improve access to alternative transportation options. Really quickly, I want to cover what active transportation is and why it's important for those that maybe weren't on council at the time the plan was approved. So active transportation is any human mode of transportation. So using your feet or mobility assistance devices to get around, things like wheelchairs, scooters, bicycles, skating, skateboarding, not in downtown areas, certainly. We wouldn't want that, right? But getting folks around outside of vehicles. So there's a lot of reasons active transportation is important. It improves overall public health, including mental and physical health. It has economic benefits, more specifically, increasing property and sales tax revenue by up to 10 times their current values. Plenty of studies have shown that homes near trails sell at a higher premium and in a shorter amount of time than those farther away. There are quality of life benefits, as mentioned in the health space, certainly, but decreasing commuting time and increasing social connection is one of those pieces. And then active transportation also provides an enhanced environmental quality. Shifting to cycling and walking trips decreases emissions into the community and keeps us all a little bit healthier. And gas is expensive, right? All right, so the goals of our plan were created by the steering committee, which was comprised of folks from several organizations and jurisdictions within the county. The first goal is health and safety, to encourage the development of a safe and context-appropriate bikeway and pedestrian system for all users in Lucas County, including special populations. That could include things like reducing the amount of vehicular traffic by providing opportunities to utilize alternative modes, improving the overall well-being of residents and minimizing healthcare costs, and reducing the number and severity of crashes involving pedestrians and cyclists. The second goal is livability, to create a framework for a comprehensive community-driven transportation network for all users of all ages. That could be achieved by lots of things, but increasing opportunities for physical activity with well-designed sidewalks, on-street bike facilities, multi-use trails like the one that we'll be celebrating here in when it's a little warmer. Our third goal is equity, to create a more accessible community for all through development of interconnected pedestrian and bike facilities. And our last goal is sustainability, to reduce per capita energy consumption and promote alternative fuel sources, to increase affordability and resilience of regional energy supplies. So I will not bore you with this very detailed timeline, but the process started in 2017 when we really began pulling stakeholders together in these jurisdictions to put a plan together. From that time, a formal plan was adopted by 6 jurisdictions in 2023, including Maumee, and then in 2024, an additional jurisdiction, so 7 jurisdictions in Lucas County have now formally adopted the plan and are implementing recommendations. In terms of engagement, so how did we get where we are? How did the plan come to be? We spent several months doing community engagement, community surveys, both online and physically in person. Amy and I saw, I think, every library in the system to collect paper surveys from folks that maybe didn't have access to an electronic method or preferred not to use that. So we did collect 653 surveys and 298 comments on the map that was available for folks. Really, the highlights are folks want better maintained sidewalks. They want addition of sidewalks where there are none. They want continuous bike routes that connect them to places they want to go. And they want to feel safe when they're using those spaces. This is a screen grab of the mapping tool that was available. So folks were able to zoom in on the map and tell us either where they want to go or where they are currently going and where more accessibility options are needed for non-motorized traffic.
So with that engagement, we were then able to get jurisdictions together to then come together and create a proposed network. That was just actually recently updated in December 2024, and it includes all of Maumee's updates as well, which we got from Patrick. So as you can see here, there's a lot of different colors and different lines, but if you read the key, so some of them indicate planned facilities, so those are facilities, bike infrastructure and multi-use trails that were already going to be in an ODOT plan or previous plan of some sort. Then we have existing facilities, which were already existing, and then the proposed facilities, which is what our group came together, and from that engagement that Beth has just shown us was where people saw that we really needed that connection so that individuals could get from one place to another. So those are all on the map, and so from those, when different funding comes up or when we're looking for different things, we can go to this plan and make sure that those are included when we apply for different grants. Along with the proposed plans, we also have to have program recommendations because we can build all this great infrastructure, but if we don't have programming to go along with it, it just becomes a trail or whatever, but we need to be able to educate individuals and have policy implementations and community support and data analysis so that people know that it's there and how to use it. Some of the things that we have in that plan for recommendations is safe routes to school. I know Maumee's in the process of developing their school travel plan, and then hopefully they'll apply for funding in March. And so Toledo has one, and Washington Local, and Oregon. So that's also included in our active transportation because we want to make sure that it's also safe for students to get to and from school. So it's just different ways that making sure that not only are we doing the infrastructure, but that we're also, educating individuals on how to use that infrastructure that's being built. Here are some active transportation highlights since the plan has been adopted. As you can see, in 2023 is when it was first adopted by the county commissioners in April, along with the city of Toledo, and you guys actually had adopted it in January, so you were the first. But in that short period of time in 2023, we were able to have 6 jurisdictions adopted, like Beth had said. We had completed 1 mile of shared use pass. 26% of the population live within 1/4 mile of a bicycle. We had 4 demonstration projects, all the safe routes to school things, and along with that, we were also able in the city of Toledo to adopt their Toledo Vision Zero Action Plan, which kind of nicely fits with the active transportation plan. So that was great. Then in 2024, like Beth said, we were able to have another jurisdiction adopt the village of Holland. So, and then 6 more new miles of bike lanes, 5 miles separated multi, 3 demonstration, and then all the safe routes to school. And those include the Toledo and Washington Local Safe Routes to School projects. So when Maumee finally adopts it and you guys do projects as well, that will also be added to our plan so that we can show as a whole that this is truly a county plan and that we're taking into account everybody. We also have infographics that Beth has, if anybody wants that, to show actually the breakdown of 2024. Just here is just another highlight, just to show you exactly what cities or jurisdictions have actually adopted the plan and the ones that we're still working towards to hopefully be able to get them to adopt it as well. The White House in Waterville, they actually gave us a letter of support when we were actually doing the plan, so it's just a matter of meeting with them to get them to adopt it as well. Then, next steps, we've been working with the city of Maumee, Nancy and Patrick and Margot and a bunch of others about how we're going to celebrate the wonderful Anthony Wayne Trail, multi-use trail that you guys have completed. And so we've come up with many different options, and so this is, the month of May is actually Bike Month, so we're going to have a big celebration with you guys to celebrate the multi-use path trail. It will be May 1st at 5 o'clock, right at that Big B at the Anthony Wayne Trail, where that sign is. We're also in talks with the city of Toledo, since right across the street is in the city of Toledo, to have like a joint one so you can show that connection and that the jurisdictions work together and that you guys aren't just in silos. So we're in the works of that too. So that will be May 1st. Hopefully there'll be a ribbon cutting, TARTA demonstration. So we'll have a TARTA bus there showing people how to put bikes on the TARTA on the bus so that you can complete your trail or your destination with a bus. And then also some other upcoming events with Maumee in the month of May is the Farmers Market on May 28th, and TMACOG will be there to help promote Bike Month as well, and bike safety. And then it looks like you guys will be having a bike rodeo and glow road on May 29th. So there's a lot of fun activities coming up in May to celebrate Bike Bike Month and the great use of active transportation that you guys adopted. And that's it. Any questions?
Council, anybody have any questions or comments? Yes, Mr. Noonan.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. Thanks for the presentation and the update. I really appreciate it. Couple questions. One, excuse me, do you guys meet on a regular basis, like monthly or whatnot?
Yeah, so we meet quarterly. We started meeting quarterly in 2023 or 2024 once it was adopted, and we will be this year. And we've reached out to jurisdictions. So Patrick and Margot and Nancy are part of our committee that'll meet, and our first meeting is in March.
Okay, because the city has an ADA commission, and I'd love to have, if not all the members, at least one of those members to be incorporated in the meetings going forward. Because in addition to biking, we talk about walking and mobility devices like you guys mentioned earlier. So I just, if we can get a copy of that schedule, what have you, so we could get it to the ADA commission, that'd be great. The second thing is, have you guys talked with Angie Goodnight over at the Toledo Lucas County Commission on Disabilities? Have you talked with them about it at all?
I am apparently shorter than everyone in this room today.
I'm shorter than you, so I get it.
Well, you don't appear to be. You're sitting in your chair, so this mic is telling the true story here. Not as of yet. So we've been working through our local connections for folks with disabilities, working with the Ability Center, working with the TARTA Commission,
Sure.
focused on disability access. So not yet, but happy to add anyone to the committee. So we can make sure that Nancy, feel free to share our contact information with Scott, and then feel free to reach out.
Yeah, that'd be great, because then I can get you connected to, obviously, if you're at the Ability Center, Angie works there, so, but if we can have not only this, but just information, what have you, shared with them, just not only for the city, but the county as well. So, thank you, that's it.
Okay, thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Appreciate the information.
Thank you.
I would, Mr. Barrow, entertain just an update on the sewer remediation program. I know our city administrator's not here this evening. He's, like I said, he fell ill, but it's important to know that we've been working diligently on the sanitary sewer overflow remediation, and that we've announced to the public several months ago, actually, and those terms have not changed. Everything is still in full force as it was released initially. The sewer meetings have been scheduled with our city administrator, have been a very, very great success. He has met with 169 individuals, and there's 25 more scheduled through the end of February. I would encourage all of our residents to sign up for your sewer inspection, so you understand what the connections are on your property, and a meeting with our city administrator and staff as well. Both of those can be completed online, and it's very easy to get that started. So we've had a total of 1,220 sewer inspections scheduled this year, which is an overwhelming response. And I'm really happy that the citizens understand that if we work together, that we can accomplish our goals that we want to do. 78 of those requests were actually received just this weekend. So we appreciate everybody's support and hope that if you've not already scheduled your sewer inspection, please do so. Share that with your friends and family and your neighbors, and let them know that there is a remediation plan in place. It's active, and you need to be involved with it. So I would just encourage everybody to do that. Thank you, President Barrow.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. Having your agenda ahead of you, is there any questions or concerns you have? I'm sorry. Having the agenda ahead of you, is there any concerns or questions you have on the agenda? Councilman Lineback?
Thank you, Council President Barrow. Item 9B on the consent calendar seems to be an issue about choosing between asphalt and concrete for the pathway that's planned to go along the road there, and then ultimately over the overpass at 475 and 28. Asphalt and concrete, this isn't the first time we've come, this decision comes up, but, each material clearly has its own pros and cons. One is not always better than the other. And I understand that concrete and one important variable is maintenance costs. We'd like to keep our maintenance costs down, and concrete definitely has lower maintenance costs than asphalt. But I don't think that's the only variable that we need to be focusing on. We need to be thinking about the total costs to procure, install, and maintain over the lifetime of the investment of this pathway. And that's another word for that, is like the life cycle costs. The research I conducted, and I pulled up a couple articles, trying to do some research, yielded that asphalt has a lower life cycle cost than concrete, especially for multi-use pathways, where the loading, it's not cars and trucks. We all know about the, asphalt, when you have cars and trucks, semis especially, it ends up being a washboard over years. It flows. It flows. But that's not the case with pathways. So, we always have limited funds, and we always seem to have more wants and needs than funds. We're always having to pick and choose. That's one of our jobs up here, how to use those funds to maximize the public good. So in this case, an asphalt pathway, I think, is a good solution. A concrete pathway, it's perhaps a better solution. But I think we only need a good solution for this pathway. It's not near the our uptown area where we have lots of concrete that looks really nice. Who knows what kind of traffic it's going to really have way out there over at the interchange. And ODOT must have thought 2 inches was adequate because that was what was in the original design. So I just want to say, until I can see a cost-benefit analysis specifically about moving to concrete from asphalt for this investment, I think we can find better uses for the $125,000 that this change order would represent. Thank you.
Is there any other comments or remarks? I'd like to weigh in on this too. Thank you, Mayor. When we did the towpath, big project, and we went with a specific thickness with steel in it for specific reasons because of the trucks and the traffic, and this has brought hundreds and hundreds of, people a week, a month and it's growing and growing, as far as Chief Sprout told me. The problem with the 2-inch that ODOT recommended is, everybody's in a financial picture, as Councilman Leinbach clearly pointed out. We don't have the funds to go back and fix things over and over again like ODOT has that luxury of doing. A 2-inch asphalt path, I don't see how that would actually carry the trucks and the vehicles that are going to be on that path, clearing it, snow plows, things of that nature, little trucks that we have. And I think the 4-inch concrete, and I talked to Dr. Birch about that, as I did before we did the towpath, is the more sure, the more positive, I would say assured progress, or a process rather, of having a secure path in place. When we have leaching that happens with asphalt, we're not going to have that with concrete, environmental issues and topics with that, so that's not going to be a concern. Thank you. That's all I had to input.
If I might just
Sure,
weigh
Mayor.
in on that just a little bit, thank you.
Sure.
Obviously, I believe that sustainability is an issue with when we build something and we invest it. Durability and longevity, I think, weighs in on that as well. With blacktop or asphalt, it's not just the weight issue that really deteriorates it. It can be the environment as well, and the sunshine and what it's exposed to, salt or whatever that might be, deteriorates it much, much quicker. So it's environmentally vulnerable. It splits, it sinks, it crumbles, it cracks. It can get hot in the summertime, very hot, actually. And in order to create some of that sustainability, durability, and longevity, you really need to reseal it, just like driveways. And you need to fill in the cracks, and so there is a maintenance cost to maintaining that. So I just add that to the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilman Noonan?
Thank you, Council President Barrow. 2 other things, just to piggyback on what Mayor McDonald just said. One of the things with asphalt, I'm sure a lot of you, as I do, I work downtown Toledo, so, driving back and forth on the trail, you've seen what the city of Toledo does to the trail itself, when they get a bunch of ice or snow that, just rips the road to shreds, they patch it, and one, it doesn't look that great, and two, it's not necessarily a good permanent fix either. So you're gonna run into that problem, in my opinion, when you got 2 inches of asphalt, and then you got, look at what we're dealing with right now, some places you got more than 2 inches of ice. I mean, it's gonna rip that stuff to shreds, in my opinion. So I agree with Mayor McDonald. I think the maintenance cost of this is gonna far outweigh what it would be to do concrete, from the beginning. That's number one. Number two, I think people need to be reminded or be cognizant of consistency, right? We have our towpath, we have our sidewalks, right? They're all concrete based, right? So doing something like this, I think needs to be concrete, just to keep that consistency. So for economic development purposes and just for aesthetics, we talk about active transportation, things that are aesthetically pleasing to our residents and for visitors. I think it's going concrete is a more viable route. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other question? I'm sorry, Councilman.
Thank you. I just feel like this is one of those projects that if you spend a little bit more in the beginning, the benefits of it are going to last tenfold. I mean, when someone puts in a new sidewalk, how often do you see people then replacing that sidewalk again in your lifetime? Not very often. When it comes to that path between like Maumee and Perrysburg, I see them almost every year filling cracks, repairing holes, resealing. I think if we're going to do it, we should do it right. 2 inches is just kind of crazy to me. I mean, that is literally that thick. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Are there any more comments? Councilman Limbach?
Thank you. Asphalt actually is more flexible than concrete. In the readings that I've done, it handles winter freeze thaws a little better. And yeah, I acknowledge it has more maintenance costs. The questions are, how much? And I don't believe we should focus only on the maintenance costs. It's the total cost, total life cycle cost that really matters. And I'd also, if I may, Council President Barrow, I'd like to make a motion to move item 9B to new business under 10C.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councilman Fiskus. Call the vote. Oh, we don't, yeah, we,
Ready. Kurt?
Yes.
Lineback?
Yes.
Noonan?
Yes.
Puffenberger?
Yes.
Barrow?
yes.
Fiskus?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes. Okay, so noted.
Okay, do we have any other topics of discussion? This concludes Committee of the Whole. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is citizen comments. It's a 3-minute limit. We have a couple people that have entertained interest cards to do that. Paula Jones from Kumler, if you want to come to the mic, please. Welcome.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I had no plans of doing this tonight, but I was reading something that just kind of upset me. And I thought, okay, who do I bring it to? On February 3rd, there was a Finance Committee meeting. There were citizens that came to that meeting and expressed their concerns over their streets on Inwood and also High Street being redone, repaired, or whatever they're going to do to them. Bothered me that they were dismissed, that their concerns were not important. Okay, so I'm here also to talk about Grand Valley and Kumler Street. We find out that the Maumee school system had this meeting talking about sidewalks, then sent home with the students about What do the parents think about sidewalks in these neighborhoods? Nobody that lived on this street, Grand Valley or Kumler, were involved in those decisions, questions. They also had a survey. Nobody was offered that option that did not have a child in the school system to have any input into this. Are the citizens on those streets also going to be dismissed? I can tell you the people that live on Grand Valley and Kumler are very against sidewalks being put in our neighborhoods. And we'll also be looking at, if they're going to do it on Grand Valley and Kumler, where are they going to stop? Who else are going to have sidewalks in their yards that have no reason to have them other than being told that they need to have them? So I would like our voices to be heard and our concerns to be heard by council. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. If I might be able to answer your question very quickly and maybe more involved at the end of the meeting. I don't believe the city has any intentions of putting sidewalks there. I got to believe that was strictly came from the school board. I don't realize that we're not entertaining that. They haven't been in contact with us about that. They must have gotten some complaints from school parents, and they're just inquiring of that.
It's about the Safe Routes to School plan.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
part of that process.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So that's what they're inquiring about. If I know more about that, I would certainly have a discussion with you, but I don't. Next is Ted Lindsley.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Ted Lindsley. I'm the association president for the Inwood Place Association. We bought our home in 2022 when we were the young people on the streets. We're no longer the young people on the streets, as you can see. But what I wanted to do today, my purpose here is to bring before you a position statement on behalf of the members of the Inwood Place Association. This is a position statement on behalf of Inwood Place Association with regards to the proposed street improvement project. We agree that our street needs improvement. We don't agree we need curbs. We don't agree that we should be assessed 80%, approximately $15,000 over the duration of 15 years to those who cannot pay the total lump sum. We are being forced to pay 80% of costs of a public road without input on the design and construction. We were told that 80% is a standard, yet there's nothing official about this to our knowledge. We asked for examples of streets that have been assessed similar amounts for their streets to be repaired in the past, and were told it was a common practice. We've asked for information regarding specific situations, and this has not been provided to us as of yet. You're asking us to bear this cost during a time of overall inflation, increased property taxes as a result of county tax assessments, increased sewer and water bills, and potential homeowners' costs for sewer repairs. It could also keep us from doing improvements and making improvements to our aging infrastructure over there, that the four walls in which we live. Most of our houses are built in the 40s and 50s. So we do not believe the addition of curbs is going to increase the property value of our homes. It actually could hinder the ability to sell as a result of additional costs. That would be the responsibility of a future buyer in the event that people leave. We've had meetings, we've vocally objected, and the project is still going forward. In our own neighborhood survey, 20 of 22 residents opposed the improvements on our dime. Finance Committee noted also that only one person expressed opposition. We objected at the initial meeting on May 30th. Several of us attended that meeting on October 22nd to share complaints and concerns, and several of us have expressed opposition during that meeting. Councilman Liebach also went door to door to talk to several neighbors.
That's your time.
Can you just wrap up real quick what your thoughts are?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The residents of Inwood Place do not feel that they should be financially responsible for the improvements to the city public street.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anything you want to say, or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ms. Puffenberger.
Yes, so I would like to respond at least to what Paula Jones had brought up. On February 3rd in our Finance Committee meeting, there were, I think, 2 residents there. They did not say anything in regards to Inwood Place. We did not shut anyone down in that meeting. I'm the person who has had one person contact me in opposition to the Inwood Place improvements. She noted that there are a lot of other people on her street that also did not want those. I said, will you please direct them to me and let me know. I believe at least one other council member also told her the same thing, and we never got contacted by anyone. But I do know what we were talking about is I think it's around $9,000 or $9,800 per resident being assessed over the 15 years, which equates to about $653 per year. That's before interest for that 15-year assessment. That is with curbs. I know we had conversations about if we wait too much longer. I've gone out that way. I've driven down the road a few times. I went out and seen the road. I mean, it's not in great shape at all. There's a lot of concern that if we don't make the improvements now, it's going to get to the point that we're going to have to, when we do the repairs, we're going to have to tear the whole thing up and redo the base, which costs a lot more money. So part of the idea is making sure we're staying on top of it, so it's not that big of it's not a huge cost. The High Street improvements, I believe, are also the 80-20, because once again, it's a dead-end road, that the percentages are based upon how many people actually drive down that street or not. I mean, same with my street, it's a dead-end road. I would get a high percentage as well. West Wayne is not. That's one's that's used a lot. That would be less. That would be a more equal probably percentage. I don't know what that would be, but it all is based upon how many people in the community use the road. So we have to make a decision as to whether we keep up our roads or not. Now, if curbs are needed or not, are most definitely something that can be talked about. Curbs aren't absolutely necessary. People, I think some people prefer the look. They think it looks a little bit neater. I know we've had complaints from residents about not appreciating when people can pull off the road and park into their yard. So that was one of the reasons for the curbs. But I guess that's just like a few of the kind of things we discussed during the meeting. We're kind of getting a backlog of streets. We've had people approach us for West Wayne. We've had people approach us for Elko. And getting these streets fixed so that we do have the streets that I say Maumee is known for. We moved out of South Toledo because of this. If you ask my husband, one of the big reasons was because of the streets. So making sure we stay on top of those things to make sure that they're more usable. But I would love to see your letter and we have conversations. I mean, right now we essentially made it so that we can put it out to bid and get actual costs for the project. I don't see any reason why we can't look at that cost, see what the curbs are as a part of it, and continue the conversation. So I would like to do that. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, Mr. Barrow.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I was also at that meeting, and when people come to this meeting, it's a business meeting. Typically, we don't have conversations with the people who attend, the residents, but I can't remember a time in my last 2 or 3 years where we haven't allowed them to have input. So there was nobody that we didn't deem as not important, or if they had something to say, we didn't keep them from speaking, to my recollection. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I know there's been some history about assessments, Ms. Harkey. Maybe you can just shed a little bit of light on what the history is for, on the assessment side.
Yeah, so I actually took a picture of the assessments sheet, I'll say. So over the last 20, 25 years, there's been 40 projects that have been assessment projects, and those are between streets or sewer or sidewalks. There's currently one going on right now still that's set to expire in 2035. That's Sophia Street. Most recently, Askins expired in '22. There's a storm sewer on Michigan in 2018. So yeah, this is not anything new as far as assessments in the city.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move on to the adoption, and if you want to stick around afterwards, I'm sure everybody up here is available for any other further questions on that. We'll move for the adoption agenda as revised. Take a motion in a second, please. Yes.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda as revised.
And I will second that motion.
Thank you. Call the roll on the revised agenda.
Kurt,
Yes.
Linebach,
Yes.
Noonan,
Yes.
Puffenberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Fiskus.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion's carried. Approval of the meeting minutes on February 3rd, 2025.
Make that motion, Mayor McDonald, to approve the meeting minutes of February 3rd, 2025.
And I'll second that motion.
Thank you. We'll call the roll on the meeting minutes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Linebach.
Yes.
Noonan,
Yes.
Puffenberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Fiskus.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Thank you. That motion's carried. Additions and communications, we have a couple items there. Suspension of the door on March 2nd. This is for the acoustics for autism. Well, before we go over this, I'll entertain a motion in a second before we go through these. Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to accept petitions and communications and place them on file.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. As stated earlier, the suspension of the door for the acoustics for autism event that is for March 2nd. Any discussion on that? Okay. And then secondly is Finance and Economic Development Committee meeting minutes from February 3rd. Anything further on that?
Here, let me bring up my notes real quick. A few of the other things we talked about were giving support to Maumee Valley Historical Society. And then we also spoke about High Street improvements, which based on what people have been telling me, that since they were kids, they've had a lot of issues with drainage and storm issues with that street. We also talked about increasing the senior discount for water bills, as well as getting a new software for our finance to allow better transparency for citizens to be able to actually get on the website and look at kind of up-to-date information as charts and graphs and everything else as to what kind of money is coming in and how it's being spent. So we talked about that as well. That's it.
Thank you. Any other comments from council? Okay, we'll call the roll on the petitions and communications.
Kurt,
Yes.
Linebach,
Yes.
Noonan,
Yes.
Puffenberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Fiskus.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Number 9 is the consent calendar. We'll take a motion in a second on this, and we'll discuss these. Mr. Kurt?
I will, Mr. Mayor, I will offer a motion to approve the one matter that is on the consent calendar.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Recommendation from the law director. Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Would you mind emphasizing that, please?
This is an annual subscription, if you will, between my office and Norris. It's the filing system that this court uses, allows us access to that, and it also gives us access to criminal histories, which we use on a daily basis. I think this is probably a savings from where it could be. We've pared our access down to read-only access as opposed to being able to search those criminal histories, which is a significant savings.
Okay, thank you. This is a renewal?
Yeah.
Obviously, yes. Okay, any further on that issue? All right, we'll call the roll on the consent calendar.
Kurt,
Yes.
Lineback,
Yes.
Noonan,
Yes.
Pfaffenberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Fiskus.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
New business is a recommendation from the city administrator to approve Resolution 4-2025, a resolution in support of and authorizing the finance director to accept the ODNR Nature Works grant in the amount of $91,544 and declaring an emergency. I do believe this is for the play structure at Ford Field?
Yes, this is formally accepting the grant.
Okay, very good.
Right.
We need two motions on this, please. Yes, Mr. Viscus.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to suspend the rules and declare an emergency.
Now second that motion.
Call the roll, please.
Kurt,
Yes.
Lineback,
Yes.
Noonan,
Yes.
Pfaffenberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Fiskus.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes. And then I move to approve Resolution 004-2025, a resolution in support of and authorizing the finance director to accept the Ohio Department of Natural Resources Nature Works grant in the amount of $91,544 and declaring an emergency.
And I second that motion.
Thank you. Call the roll on that, please.
Kurt,
Yes.
Lineback,
Yes.
Noonan,
Yes.
Pfaffenberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Fiskus.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Thank you. That motion is approved. B is a recommendation from the city administrator approving Resolution 5-2025, ratifying and approving a tentative agreement with the FOP and declaring an emergency. We need two motions on this, please. Actually, there wasn't a whole lot of meetings that went on with this, and we came to agreement with the police, and I believe this is a 3-year agreement. Is that right, Chief? Yep. Okay. So we need two motions on this to suspend the rules and declare an emergency and approve. Mr. Noonan.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I would first like to make a motion to suspend the rules and declare an emergency.
And I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Call the roll.
Kurt,
Yes.
Lineback,
Yes.
Noonan,
Yes.
Pfaffenberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Fiskus.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
And thank you again, Mayor McDonald. I would also like to make a motion to approve Resolution 5-2025, a resolution ratifying and approving tentative agreement with the Fraternal Order of Police and declaring an emergency.
And I will second that motion.
Call the roll, please.
Kurt,
Yes.
Lineback,
Yes.
Noonan,
Yes.
Pfaffenberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Fiskus.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Thank you. That motion is passed. And then 10C is actually the old 9B, recommendation from the city administrator authorizing agreement and change order between the city of Maumee and the Lucas County Transportation Improvement District for the 20A and I-475 interchange project. The change order is changing asphalt to concrete. And I do believe the part on the divergent diamond as part of the overpass, it is part of that, is in that design. So that is going in as we speak, well, in the spring, actually, when they resume construction on that. And we need to entertain a motion for this, please.
I move that we go forward with the project.
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Anything further on that?
I have more comments.
Yes, go ahead.
Please, thank you. The construction, I think, begins in 25 days from now, so the construction of concrete and all that can begin, or the contractors can begin this type of work. Today, we have the controlled cost. We know what our cost is going to be today to do this job. The problem with asphalt, besides it's leaching and it's having to be repaired, as we all know, whoever has a concrete driveway or a asphalt driveway, the edges also chip away, causing more and more repairs. Another thing, we won't have to disrupt the continuity of the people using the path. So I say today we have a controlled cost. We know what's going to be. We don't know, except we know it's going to cost more in the future to do said repairs. Thank you.
And we'll call the roll on the motion, please.
Kurt,
Yes.
Lineback,
No.
Noonan,
Yes.
Pfaffenberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Fiskus.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll move to comments. Mr. Kirk?
Thank you. I wish the band parents and the band staff were here. I was never a band parent. My grandson was a member of the band at Perrybrook High School, and he enjoyed it very much. He enjoyed it so much so that he is now a sophomore at Bowling Green University, and he aspires to be a band leader and a music teacher himself. So Perrysburg did not have a band grandparents group, but had they had one, that would have been part of it. So instead, we just helped our daughter with her duties as a band parent. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Leinbach?
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. So when I was as young as those Maumee students are in playing musical stuff, I was in the band, I was in the marching band, I was in the orchestra. It was fantastic experience. And as I've learned, as we all have who have kids, youngsters don't get to do a lot of things unless parents are involved. And so I think it's just fantastic that our Maumee band parents are that committed to be able to allow their children to have such a great experience with music. It's really life-changing, so kudos again to them. I also want to thank the people who come and speak, at these meetings. Citizen engagement's really important, so keep on coming. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Noonan?
Thank you, Mayor. Obviously, I'll echo everybody else and say, again, congratulations to the Maumee Band Parents Organization. It's a phenomenal national honor, and the city and the school system and all the students and residents should be proud of that. So, again, congratulations on that. I also want to thank Amy Clarkson and the police administration for a wonderful police banquet last Wednesday, I believe it was. Even with the weather, everybody was able to get there, and it was nice seeing all the officers getting recognition, along with citizens getting recognized as well. So that was a great event, and I'm glad I was there. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Puffenberger?
Thank you. I just wanted to remind everyone that we will be having a rain barrel making workshop on March 18th at 4:30 and 5:30. You can sign up through Lucas County Soil Water District for those workshops. We've just got confirmation today. We'll be having the first of a two-part series talk about rain gardens. It will be happening on April 15th at 6 p.m. at the Maumee Library Branch. We have Sarah from OSU Extension Office that will be giving a presentation. We also plan to do one in July or August when we can take a field trip to a local rain garden to show kind of everyone how that is. And I know I'm looking forward to, they've got a rain garden master class starting at the end of February that I'm going to be taking, so that should be a lot of fun. But I think it's going to be really important for our city to look into that and learn more about how different plants can absorb extra stormwater, especially as we're trying to get rid of the illicit connections on our properties. And then I'd also like to echo Phil's comments about how important a strong parent support group is. I ran cross country and was a part of a running family growing up, and we had an amazing family support, and it makes all the difference, just as I'm sure the band parents have, it sounds like, for them. So it definitely adds a little something extra that will be memorable for those kids for the rest of their lives. It's nice.
Thank you. Mr. Barrow?
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. Paul, I appreciate you coming to council and telling us what you were told or heard. And as public can see and the people watching online, it's not always true what you're told when you come to the council floor and you bang your fist and you point at us and you accuse us of everything. But this is just a perfect segue into these things that have been put in front of our citizens. Recall all who have failed us. I got to tell you, you're never going to have a harder working council to handle this catastrophe that has plagued the city for over 40 years. These people up here working night and day with our administrator, who has continuously, night and day, worked to find the problem, find the solution, and to fix things. This group keeps putting out false information. A $54 million tax abatement. No, that just happens what the project cost to build. We're going to have millions and millions of dollars for the future of Maumee for decades to come, because we're thinking ahead. We're thinking down the road. I love the flyers. Honestly, they did a great job, the train. But this train is a train of misinformation. And you should really take a look around and ask people, ask these council up here, what's going on. We'll give you the straight facts. You have to bring these with you. We'll be happy to get informed exactly what's happening. On another Facebook, we were told that, actually I saw the post, that it said if you're, we're talking about the lateral grant/loan program we have in place, that if you make $75,000, you'll be responsible for your laterals. The number's $198,000, and you'll be 100% granted. So if you have a question and you're getting these things and you're getting upset, please reach out to us. We have emails, we have phone numbers, our personal cell phone numbers are out there. You can come and talk to us here. Thank you.
Mr. Fiskus.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, again, my congratulations to the band parents. The band director himself had parental duties. He had to run down, he lives in BG, his son is in Quiz Bowl. They had a fundraiser, he had to hightail it back down there. So not only does he love our support that our parents give, but he also has to do it himself. So thank you to all of them. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Harris.
Yeah, congratulations again to all those parents. I can't stress enough how important it is for parents to really engage in their children's life, especially in an elective like music. I know when I was growing up, I tried playing the trumpet, and my mom didn't even like the noise as I was practicing, so she kind of pushed me away from it, and to this day, really, I kind of regret it because I didn't get to really learn music and learning, you know, the fundamentals and the basics. And today I actually play in my church band, but I still don't know what the heck I'm doing. So kudos to those parents for being involved in their kids' lives. So thank you.
Thank you. I would like to personally congratulate Officer Fritz for being chosen Officer of the Year. I remember when Brian was hired into the police division, and he had a history of being sold out and wanting to be a Maumee officer. When he was in high school, his junior, senior year, he rode with officers on the weekends and the evenings when he could. He rose to the level of Eagle Scout, very determined individual. His parents have lived here most of their life, and of course, Brian was raised here in Maumee. And one cannot receive a better honor than to be chosen by your peers that you work with and alongside of you, and they think that you've excelled in their eyes. And it's always a great honor to rise to that occasion, and it's so fitting for Officer Fritz. He's very conscientious, very smart, and we're lucky to have him on the police division. So congratulations, Brian. And I think that's going to conclude our business for this evening. I'll entertain a motion, a second, for an adjournment.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Call the roll.
Kurt?
Yes.
Lineback?
Yes.
Noonan?
Yes.
Poffenberger?
Yes.
Barrow?
Yes.
Fiskus?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Thank you. We're adjourned.